Hello, my name is Mad Dev. I'm a detective and the founder of a free agency dedicated to investigating and researching different creatures or creepypastas lurking in Minecraft. The goal of my organization is to determine which anomalies are pure fiction and which are the product of someone's imagination.
About a month ago, I received some comments asking me to look into a terrifying entity known as Long-Legged Steve. That caught my attention because I had actually heard of him a very long time ago. Long-Legged Steve has unnaturally stretched arms and legs. In size, he surpasses even the Enderman and is roughly as wide as a ghast. But instead of eyes, he has nothing. That alone gives me chills. Back when I was a kid, I saw pictures of him on the internet, but I wasn't interested in the paranormal back then, so I ignored them, and maybe it was a good thing I did.
After all, I only had one computer. This entity was reportedly spotted in versions 1.5.2, 1.4.1, and occasionally in 1.8.1 beta. According to player stories, he would most often appear nearby. After that, he could either vanish for a long time or remain standing silently, occasionally changing his position. But we'll get into those details a bit later. Witnesses claimed that before he appeared, most, or even all, animals in the area would suddenly vanish. Sometimes trees were seen with their leaves chopped off, and even biomes began overlapping each other unnaturally. These three signs are the most commonly mentioned in the stories. But to be honest, I'm not so sure about the trees and biomes. Those Minecraft versions were infamous for poor world generation, so chances are those were just bugs.
Remember, from version to version, Mojang changed the way the game generated terrain, and if you loaded an old world into a newer version, strange things could happen in the unexplored areas. That was actually pretty common back then. Most likely, the broken trees were also part of that. I'd call it confirmation bias, when people only believe the information that supports their own theory, ignoring everything else. Now, every time Long-Legged Steve appears in sight, his body always faces the player. He doesn't move, he just stands there in one spot for a long time, whether you leave or not. There are photos of him taken from afar, but never any close-ups, because that's impossible.
If you approach him too closely, he rushes at you at an insane speed, and then the victim's computer crashes completely, beyond any hope of repair. This entity is said to reach speeds up to 100 blocks per second, allowing him to move swiftly and silently across the world. We know this thanks to one person who managed to record him running on camera. But beyond that, most footage only shows him standing still. I assume players lost their recordings due to system crashes. But then again, why didn't anyone try filming with a phone? The real problem is finding any reliable evidence at all, especially video. Many of the recordings were deleted from YouTube, but I haven't given up.
Over time, I've pieced together several logical theories that might explain this entity. Though, of course, not all questions can be answered. But let's start with the main one. Why doesn't he just instantly rush at players and crash their systems? What's the point of all these games? Maybe he studies his prey, or maybe he's just trying to scare it. But I have a different explanation. Humans naturally see the world as if it revolves around them, but that's not true. It's all in your head. To Long-Legged Steve, you don't matter. He probably doesn't even know what you are. Instead, he follows his own instincts. And here we recall the strange disappearance of animals. It's possible he doesn't only attack players, but all living things.
And since he has no eyes, it seems he relies on hearing. But why hearing? Maybe he uses other signals. Still, notice how he only attacks when you get close. It's likely he's waiting, listening for footsteps, then striking. Yet strangely, no stories mention him actually eating animals or doing anything with them. He's always just standing there.
Anyway, let's move on. We know he can sprint across huge distances, but animal sounds don't carry that far in the game. So why run in that direction? I suspect he reacts to any sound, even the creepy ambient noises of Minecraft. When they play, he heads toward them, expecting prey.
Another question. Why does he always face the player the first time he spawns? How can that be a coincidence? I think there is some kind of link. He probably senses chunk loading and instinctively turns toward it. Based on all this, I once tried sneaking up silently, planning to trap him, maybe with lava beneath his feet, or barricades to block his charge, or even lure him with arrow sounds. Maybe then I could study his abilities, or destroy him. Tracking him wasn't too hard, since stories also mentioned specific seeds. So I dug out my old PC, the one I first used to play Minecraft, and began experimenting. I didn't care if it broke.
For a month, I tried different tactics, different versions, different recordings, but nothing worked. Then I realized he didn't appear for everyone. Only a few players had ever seen him. What connected them? I went back through old stories and noticed a pattern. Many players admitted they had downloaded pirated Minecraft from shady websites. Back then, there were countless sites like that. It's very possible the entity was hidden in those cracked copies, inserted as malicious code or a cruel joke. If you downloaded Minecraft only from official sources, it was nearly impossible to get such a virus. But years ago, people weren't as careful and trusted random sites.
I personally never managed to find the pirated version with long-legged Steve, and online, stories and videos about him disappeared a long time ago, as if that copy was lost forever. Or maybe something else happened. We can only guess. So what do I conclude? I suspect this is fake. There are too many holes in the story. My theory explains a lot, but contradictions remain, and evidence is scarce. Why didn't anyone ever try to gather multiple players together and face him as a group? Though maybe multiplayer didn't work properly on those versions, I can't remember.
Either way, the investigation leaves behind scraps of evidence, too strange to ignore. Perhaps there is a grain of truth to all of this, but that truth is now out of reach. And most likely, both long-legged Steve and those old Minecraft copies are long gone. Leave your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget the disclaimer.